Well, happy Monday. It's Leza live on the radio, on the news, 103.5 FM, KYCA, video streaming worldwide, live online at kyca.info and the KYCA Facebook page. Good morning, team. How are the guys doing this morning?
I think I got it working, so we are streaming. So
we are
that's a good
streaming?
thing,
Okay,
right?
good, because, I just told the whole world that we were.
The pressure's on.
I know. You've got a big
handle
job
it.
here, Maddie.
It's
Big
way
job.
too much.
How's Drew?
Excellent today.
Excellent today. Very good, very good. Everybody had a good weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. Felt like a long weekend to me, which, you got to love that. Probably a short weekend for you, huh, Drew?
Yeah, well, it was. We blew out of here on Friday and got back late last night. But, my buddy's making progress, so it's all good. And,
Good.
saw some of the family, so it worked out nicely. That's
Right.
a little tired, but you know what? That's, we'll deal with that later.
That's right. You've got 1 hour, one more hour, and then it's all downhill from there.
Okay.
You can do it. You can do it. And you brought home your friend's dog.
Yes.
And Stuart and Bella got to meet. And what were their thoughts about each other?
Well, since Bella was a puppy when she first met Stuart.
Oh, okay.
So they're buddies.
Okay.
We no longer own the couch.
No.
Stuart's on one side,
Yeah.
and Bella's on the other. And if you want the little part in the middle, well, go ahead, but there's no leg extension.
Right.
So they've taken over the couch, so it's good. We're being trained again.
I love it. It's a dog's world.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
just
And
here.
he traveled so well, jumped out,
Yeah.
we did did his business, jumped back in,
Perfect.
easy.
Good.
He's 9 years old, so,
Yeah.
he's trained, he does that. So.
Yes, but does he still play with Bella?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
But he just can't play as much because
Sure.
he's a little overweight, but he's on a diet.
Okay.
Okay, he's,
Everything has changed for Stuart.
So, yeah. Stuart's now eating good dog food versus puppy patties and,
Right.
In-N-Out burgers.
Sure,
that
sure.
kind of stuff. So anyway, but he's lost about 7 pounds. He's doing good.
Good.
So yeah, so now we have 2 dogs and it's wonderful.
It is. It's wonderful to have 2 dogs. And how's Matt doing this morning?
I was just going to say, so Stuart is teaching Jamie lots of things on how to control you.
Both dogs control me.
And
It's
get
a
used to
fact.
the floor.
Right? Right.
Yes,
The couch,
absolutely.
Get used to the floor.
That's so cute. Is Stuart as big as Bella?
No, he's an American Terrier mix, and he's just a little. He's a stud.
He's a stud. Okay.
Yeah. We're looking around. I'm going to say 55 pounds.
Yeah.
But he's low to ground and he's cute.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. I love it. Good for you to take care of Stuart.
Yeah.
But his personality is bigger.
I can tell you this. Sometimes he just looks at Bella like, really? You're still not out of energy,
Right. Oh, I love it. I love it.
So it's good.
That's fantastic. Well, big weekend for our family. Mateo got traded. So he no longer is a Toronto Marley. He is a Rockford, Illinois Ice Hog.
Oh, okay.
So he is playing for the affiliate, the feeder team, the American Hockey League team for the Blackhawks, Chicago Blackhawks.
Oh, that's
Wonderful.
cool.
Yes, so they're back in the U.S. of A., which is actually the first time he's playing pro in the United States. He did play juniors in a little town, a suburb of Chicago, Fox River,
Okay.
the Chicago Steel. So he kind of feels like he's going back to a place that he knows. And so now he's an Ice Hog.
I like that name. That's
I
a
do
good
too.
name, Ice Hogs.
It's better than a Marley. Nobody knows
Yeah.
what a Marley is. For 4 years, we've been wondering what the heck a Marley is. And so this is all new. And it's so interesting because he got told during intermission of a game, I think must have been on Friday, and they had to leave yesterday.
That's the way it
They
works.
had to pack up their entire apartment and hit the road. It's about a 9-hour drive, though, to Rockford from Toronto, and they're going to arrive there today. He's going to have his physical and all that stuff done, and then practice with the team tomorrow, and then hopefully play in a game on Wednesday.
So how do you break your lease on stuff like that, or did they not have a lease?
No,
or
I think that the new team buys out the lease.
is that what it is?
Yeah, so I mean, and that isn't cheap.
And then they got to find somewhere else to live in
Yes.
Chicago.
Yeah, in Rockford, which
Or
is about
Rockford, yeah.
an hour 65.
It used to be an hour. Now with the traffic, you're looking about an hour and a half
Okay.
outside of the western suburbs.
Okay.
I've got some relatives there.
All right.
Yeah, they've got a very nice new arena. I can tell you
Yes?
that. Yeah.
Okay, well,
they'll be
that's good.
He'll be playing in a nice arena.
Yeah.
And that's WeatherTech. That's the town that WeatherTech
Oh, okay.
is in, and they've just since they've come in, there's jobs, and that whole area is just
Booming.
going nuts.
Good.
So yeah, good for
Well,
them. All
we're
right, way to go,
excited.
Mateo.
Yeah, we're excited for him.
And only being an hour and a half away from Chicago itself,
Yeah.
I mean, I bet you he's going to get a lot of time, hopefully, on the Blackhawks.
Well, that's always the dream.
Sending him up and down.
That's
That'd
the
be
dream.
Cool.
We're just looking forward to him playing more with the Ice Hogs, and the Marlies were just defenseman heavy, and they're all vying for ice time, and so this is going to be a good thing for Mateo, and we're really excited.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but it's interesting being in pro sports like he is. We've never had to deal with a trade before, and so Delaney's like, as soon as she got the call, she started packing because she knew. I mean, they're not going to give you a week. They want you there. They're putting you in a hotel, and you are going to work.
So Delaney might want to look into getting rid of things she doesn't need from here on out, just in case there's more trades in the future.
They're pretty much minimalist as it is because
they?
when they come home to Arizona during the off season, they have to pack up their whole life in their car. It's a big Jeep Grand Cherokee, but they have to bring it all to Arizona and they take it all back. So they are pretty much minimalist. But the great news, what a blessing! Mateo's parents were actually visiting them in Toronto when they got the news. So his parents were there to help them. They took half the stuff to their
Nice.
house, and so anyway, it was big news for our family this weekend, and more big news. Dempsey's wedding is a month away from tomorrow.
Wow.
I know, it's a very exciting time, and I found my mother of the bride dress. So see, there's a lot we got accomplished this weekend.
Is there like a specific store you have to go to for that?
Well, no, it just has to be, it has to be a special dress, mother of the bride dress. And it's kind of a lot of pressure. I put it off until a month before, and I think I'm really happy about it.
And are you allowed to show up the bride?
No,
Okay.
are you kidding?
So I would be at
I'll
Walmart.
try my hardest, but there's no showing up this bride.
No,
She's absolutely
no.
gorgeous. Yeah, so we're all excited. It's going to be a really fun month leading up to the wedding.
And we only have 19 more days before you're happy to you.
Oh, that's right. We have a birthday in between. Holy smokes. It's good
Now,
to be
when's
me
the
right
wedding?
now.
Is the wedding on your birthday?
February 7th.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. I'll have my own week.
Week. All right.
You know how
She
that
celebrates for a week.
You know
Most
how
people
that
celebrate
goes.
for a
No.
day.
No, I
she
think
celebrates for a week.
the older you get, the more you celebrate. Don't you think? I mean, I don't know.
I don't celebrate at all.
You don't celebrate your birthday at
No.
all? I totally missed his birthday because I was in Europe.
You were partying it up.
Yeah. So I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything.
I know. I figured
didn't
as
do
much.
anything anyway.
I figured as much. Well, anyhow, and more good news. The Cardinals won yesterday. They spanked the 49ers at home. It's so sad, though, to end the season like that because it just gives you so much hope, It's like, oh, next year. But we always know how that goes.
Yeah, it won't be.
It won't be.
No.
No. Well, let's hope. There's always hope. We always have hope.
You never know.
You never know. And, a huge decision on my part yesterday. Do you watch the Chiefs or do you watch the Cardinals? And then once I realized that Mahomes wasn't playing, I watched the Cardinals. So, did you watch any football this weekend?
No.
No. But did you ride your motorcycle?
I did.
Yes. How many miles did you add to your running tally?
I don't know. I'd have to look.
Yeah.
I didn't measure.
Yeah.
But to let Drew know, it did die on me twice while I was riding it,
Oh, man.
which I didn't understand why.
Uh-oh.
So,
Drew, what's the problem?
We'll have to see.
Drew,
Okay.
fix it.
Okay.
We'll have to see.
Is that odd?
It could be a number of things. Was it in the very beginning? Was it cold? Did you leave the
It was
choke
really
on?
it was really cold.
What's the choke?
So, and I did not leave the choke on.
Okay, or an
but,
enrichener.
But no, it
No.
was very cold yesterday, and I think, I was driving a little slow with a little bit higher gear, going down some dirt, and that's when it cut out. But I think it might have been the cold because when it died, I mean, I was at the sea, if not below it, when it died. So.
Yeah, it could be cold, or it just could be, one of those things.
One of those things.
It was fine after it died twice, and then I stopped at the gas station.
Oh,
but
did it need gas?
it did not really. It has like a 6-gallon tank, and I only put 2 gallons in it.
Yeah.
so.
Okay. All right. Well, I have to say, working towards my New Year's resolution, I did ask Scott if we could go motorcycle riding this weekend, and he said, "Oh no, those batteries are so dead." He goes, "I got to charge the batteries. We haven't started them in 6 months."
New batteries coming.
You can't just charge them. You got to
No,
new
well,
ones.
it all depends on what condition the
Okay.
batteries are in.
All right. I think they were new when we put them in them. So,
Yeah.
anyhow, didn't get to do it, but I'm glad you did.
Well,
Yeah.
yesterday was nice-ish.
Yeah.
At least it felt nice, and then you get on the bike and you're doing 70, and you're like, oh no, it's cold.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right. A little wind chill, huh?
Yeah. Oh
Well,
yeah.
speaking of cold, it is freezing cold outside this morning.
Yeah, we're not even above freezing right
Is
now.
that right?
We're
It's
at 31
cold.
right here at the station.
Okay.
So that's taking it literally from 30 feet away.
Okay.
So, everybody might get happy. We've got a little bit of chance for some snow showers tonight above 6,000 feet.
Is that right?
Yeah, 10%
Fantastic.
chance.
Wow, that's
But
amazing.
yeah, that doesn't,
No,
there's not going to be any accumulation, but it will cool things down and, we'll take any moisture we can get.
Right. We don't care. The higher elevations get the snow and it trickles down,
Right.
so we'll take it. Anything we can get. Okay.
Anything, so-
What are our highs looking like for this week?
Well, it's going to go down. Today we're going to be at 58. Tomorrow we'll be around 52. And then Wednesday, 45.
Holy smokes, that's
So
like
we are getting our winter. It's
yeah,
coming.
It's coming.
It
Okay.
was just a little late,
yeah,
It's
but it's on its way.
on the way. Yep.
Okay.
But, again, like I said, 10%, but the real thing's going to be the winds.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, it's gonna be
So
windy.
you get 45 degrees and you get a 20-mile-an-hour wind,
Right.
you're going to be cold.
It's going to be cold. Yeah. You may not be riding your motorcycle this week.
No,
No.
it's too cold. I'm already planning on throwing the cover on it.
Yeah.
Because it lives outside.
Okay.
So.
All right. Good news.
Typically, I'd kind of draw the line around 50. If it's
Yeah.
sunny
Yeah.
and you're going south or you're going to pick up the weather,
Right.
that's okay.
But
if
50
it's here and it's 50 and you're going to Flag,
Yeah.
no.
No.
You're going to be chilly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You don't have fun.
Very good.
When I jumped on it yesterday, it was like 51, 52, something
really?
like that.
Brr.
It didn't seem like it was that cold. I mean,
Yeah,
I was
it was
not wearing
sunny.
a sweater or anything in the sun.
Yeah.
And then I got on the bike and I'm like, oh, it's cold.
It's cold.
yeah.
All right. Well, it's going to get colder. So,
Yeah.
everybody, it's finally here. Pull out those winter warm weather clothing.
Well, what's the altitude of Mountain Club?
I want to say 55
Okay, good. So
Yeah.
we want snow down to 55,
at least.
maybe 5,000.
Yeah, that'd
'Cause
be
I don't
nice.
think I'm above 5,000 where I'm at.
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready for some snow. That
Yeah,
would be
tree
nice.
line's 5,000, so
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You know what's going to happen, don't you?
yeah.
I'm going to California Thursday morning for a funeral this weekend.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and you know what's going to happen? It's going to snow while I'm gone. You watch. This always happens.
We're going to get like 3 feet.
Yeah, right. And I'll be going, I'm missing it.
It'll make national news.
Right. Absolutely. All right. So today is Epiphany. Christians around the world celebrate the Epiphany today. The feast day commemorates the biblical account of the visit of the Magi, which is, of course, the 3 wise men upon the birth of Jesus. It's also Orthodox Christmas Eve, if you still go by the Julian calendar. Orthodox Christmas around the world will celebrate their Christmas Eve tonight. The Catholic Church ditched the Julian calendar in the 1500s, which is why the rest of the world celebrates Christmas 2 weeks earlier. It's also National Thank God It's Monday Day.
No.
Have you ever said that in your whole life?
No. Not
No.
once.
Well, it's celebrated on the first Monday in January and represents new beginnings, but it's probably just a worldwide plot by bosses to get you excited about returning to work. We've been at work, so
Yeah, I was going to say that is
Yeah.
one thing that I did notice coming in is there's a lot more cars
a
on
lot more
traffic.
cars
and, yeah.
on the road. Yeah, people had a nice 2-week vacation.
Oh, yeah.
Not us, but people did.
And, now they got to get back in their routine, get back on time, dropping the kids off.
Yep.
Take your time, people.
Yep, absolutely. Take your time. Slow it down. It's also National Bean Day. They're good for your heart. You know how the saying
The
goes,
musical fruit.
right? But seriously, just a cup of them can supply between 9 and 13 grams of fiber, which can help reduce cholesterol. There are more than 40,000 bean varieties in the world. That's amazing. So celebrate alone with a bowl of chili or whichever you choose.
That's a lot of fruit.
Do you like beans?
Not really.
No.
Nope.
Nope.
Never really been a huge
I
fan.
remember being a kid and hating the lima bean. We had this table in our kitchen that had hollow legs, and my siblings and I would all stuff our lima beans down this leg.
Oh, no. How bad did that smell after a few weeks?
Well, they figured it out after a while. Probably after 4 or 5 months, I think.
The
But
leg
we all
breaks
figured it
off
out.
and-
We all figured it out. It was this really weird, funky
Yeah.
table, and it had hollow square legs that had an opening at the top. I don't know if it was open at the bottom, if that's how they figured it out. They moved the table, and all these shriveled up lima beans fell out. Anywho,
Well, and chili, I think officially if it's chili, it's not supposed to have beans in it at all.
well, there is a controversial debate about that. Yeah, and I say yes.
It's typically chili con carne, which means chili with meat.
Right.
So chili is typically with beans,
Beans.
only.
Yes.
That's-
But he just said no.
As far as I know, the traditional Texas chili has no beans in it.
Has no beans. I think chili always has beans, and it always has meat.
We just brought up a new controversy on the radio. Call in.
right. Beans or no beans? We want to know.
Go to the Texas chili cook-off.
Yeah.
There's everything that you could possibly imagine.
Right.
made
All
in chili.
different varieties,
Yeah,
right?
but that's
Yeah.
a cook-off. That's different. You
Yeah.
can, competitions, you're trying to up everybody else. you know?
Right, right. Well, I don't know. I like my chili with beans.
Good.
You don't like the beans in it?
No, I'm fine with
Yeah.
it. I just am not a huge fan.
Yeah. What about you? You like it with or without?
I like good chili with and without beans.
Ah, look at you.
Oh, sure.
Boy.
Drew can't make up his
I
mind.
know.
like
He's
usual.
being very diplomatic.
I wasn't being diplomatic. I'm just hungry.
Just hungry.
Feed the guy, will you? Feed
No,
the
I
guy.
mean, if you make a good bowl of chili and you put beans in it and it's good flavor,
Yeah.
I'm down for it.
Absolutely.
If you don't have beans in it and it's good,
Right.
I'm down for it.
Okay, fantastic. All right, coming up, it is Montoya Monday today.
That's correct.
Prescott City Councilman Brandon Montoya is going to join us, but he's not going to be talking about the city. He's actually going to be talking about wealth management, representing Montoya Wealth Management today. He's going to give us some tips on our finances for the new year. So I'm looking forward to, and actually this is something I really don't know a whole lot about. So this is all going to sound like a foreign language to me. You guys chime in if at all possible.
The pressure is on.
The pressure
and I'm
is
not
on.
that smart.
Well,
Well, I thought he was coming in to talk about mouthwash this time instead of toothpaste.
he's coming in to talk about smart things today. So
See,
we
I
got to
don't know
step.
if-
We got to step it up.
I don't know if that can happen.
All right. Brandon Montoya coming up here on Leza Live. Right now, not all emergencies are medical. When your heating or air conditioning goes out, that's a crisis of its own. And that's where AC Medic Heating and Air comes to the rescue. Whether it's a repair, replacement, or routine maintenance, AC Medic is your first responder for comfort. With fast, reliable service, they'll make sure your home is always the perfect temperature. Don't let a heating or cooling emergency ruin your day. Call AC Medic Heating and Air at 928-848-6224. Your ideal home environment is just a call away. AC Medic, your trusted first responder for all things heating and air. Welcome back. It's Leza live on the news, 103.5 FM, KYCA on Montoya Monday. Prescott City Councilman Brandon Montoya in with us this morning, but not to talk about the city. We're going to talk about Montoya Wealth Management, and you're going to bring some tips to the people.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I love that. But first, you walked in and you said that you judged a chili contest.
So I I heard you guys before I came on talking about chili.
Hey,
Right.
good. We got one listener.
But by the way, I tend to be on the side of beans do belong in chili.
Yeah, me
as
too.
do
Yes.
as do meat, or as does meat. And so I don't remember how I got involved in this, but I think they reached out to our mayor and he was out of town or something. They wanted to get a bunch of local officials to judge a chili contest
Sure.
at the LDS Church in Prescott Valley.
Okay.
And so I was there. The Sheriff Rhodes was there, and Kel Pelgudo was there. And what was really funny to me about it is Kel can't handle any spice at all.
Oh, is that right?
No, and I was just
Really?
like, yeah, he was like eyes watering, and I'm like, and I was kind of like, because I like a little heat in my
me
chili.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want it to kind of hurt a little bit.
Yeah. That's why you put the sour cream in
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I mean, it all makes sense.
No. And there I should say there was some pretty good chilies. There was some really. I'm not a big white chili fan.
Yeah.
Like that
Right.
feels
That's
like.
more like soup to me.
Yeah.
Like white bean soup.
Yeah.
Right?
So to me, I was just kind of like, I don't love and there was some that some of them had really cool presentation, but
Yeah.
then it just again my mom learned to make tamales from my grandmother who was Guadalupe Montoya, and she was
Oh.
from New Mexico, and
Right.
I mean and I remember as a kid spreading masa because I was the youngest, and that was the crappy job that you got to do, and so I come from a tradition of spice.
Yeah, me too. I'm New Mexican, so
Yeah, I think you get it. Yeah, you get
so yeah, there's got to be some spice in my chili as well. Did you guys come to an agreement on one chili? Just to wrap up this topic.
Kel was deferred a lot to me because a lot of stuff he was like, I just can't even eat this.
Oh my gosh, that's
I was
hilarious.
surprised by. I'm
Yeah.
gonna get in trouble for being on the radio talking about.
Well,
You just might
if
get a
it's
spot on his show this week.
I mean, I don't want to give him a hard time, but yeah, I was surprised by
Yeah.
how low his threshold for heat was.
for heat was okay.
Yeah, so he was like, "What do you think?" I was like, "Well, this one obviously had the best because there was 4 or 5 categories."
Yeah. Okay. Good.
That was fun.
Well, that's terrific.
Chili cook-offs are fun.
Absolutely, they are fun, and so is talking about wealth management.
Well, if
a
you're
good topic
if you're
right there.
me, it is. But
Well, and that's why I have you here to talk about it because this is unknown territory for me pretty much.
Sure.
And so why don't we just kick it off with what you think is strategic for people going into the new year as far as their wealth is concerned,
well, so
or their finances.
it kind of everyone tends to be in a different place,
Yeah.
right? So it's a little difficult. But I work with a lot of retirees,
Okay.
right? And so the thing that I think most people get right working is that it's been grounded in our heads. Hey, you got to save money when to retire, right?
Right.
So most people put money into a 401k typically,
Yes.
right? And so for a very, very long time, the way the 401k basically just works, like brass tacks, simplified way it works is that you can, if you're getting paid, say $30,000 a year, and you put $1,000 into your 401k, you don't get taxed on that $1,000, right?
Okay.
Until you take it out,
Sure.
right? And the idea is that every year you do that $1,000 is invested, it's growing, you're not paying taxes on it while it is growing. Then when you go to retire, hopefully you're making less money, and as you take it out to support your retirement, you won't pay as much taxes as you would when you were working, right?
Okay.
That's kind of loosely the idea
Right.
of how a traditional 401k or a traditional individual retirement account known as IRA. There's a lot of abbreviations in my industry, so I'm going to try and
Okay.
not abbreviate it if I can avoid it.
Perfect.
Okay,
Perfect.
so an IRA, individual retirement account, is typically tax deferred. So you don't pay taxes when you put money on into that account. It grows, and as it grows, and then you take money out, you do pay taxes, right?
Okay.
So most people have been doing that for years. What happens, and what a lot of people who come to my office, they'll sit down and they'll say, hey, Brandon, I've got, $500,000 or, $1 million in IRA money that I haven't paid taxes on.
Right.
And I say, that's great. You're retired and they've got Social Security, they've got all the other things. What I try to talk to them about is doing what's called a Roth conversion.
Okay.
Okay. So a Roth is a different type of account. It's still an IRA, but it's one in which you put the money in, you pay the taxes on the front end, and then it continues to grow on the back end, and you never have to pay taxes again.
Right.
As I explain to people, it's the single greatest tax loophole that exists.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What does Roth stand for?
So there was a senator from Rhode Island whose
Okay.
last name was Roth.
Okay.
And in the 90s,
Yeah.
he added this into our tax code.
Right.
So it's and so it hasn't been around for a very long time
Okay.
either. So if I'd say if you're over the age of like 60s, probably you didn't during your a vast majority of your working life, it wasn't an option that really existed.
Yeah.
And even after the 90s, after it became, a lot of people just weren't offering it.
Okay.
Now, if you're working, most companies will offer a Roth component inside of a 401k.
Okay.
So the nice thing is, you can take. This is a tip that I talk to a lot of people about, and you should talk to your financial professional, or there's a ton of good resources out there. But if you have a lot of IRA money that's traditional, if you can convert it into a Roth, the upside for you is pretty good.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. And so is there a reason that you couldn't convert it into a Roth?
Yeah, there
Yeah.
are a couple reasons why
Yeah.
you couldn't or might think twice about it.
Okay.
One of them is if you have, even if you're retired, but you have really high income. So if you were receiving a pension, or if you're already in the process of taking Social Security, that might impact you too.
Right.
Because we have a progressive tax system in this country, right? So right now, the tax rates are 10, 12, 22, 24, 35. I mean, it's confusing.
Percent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes up. The more
Right.
you make it, it kind of breaks through those. So your last dollar is taxed on that higher rate. Because it's progressive, you want to stay in your tax bracket that you're in typically, right? So you don't want to pay. It's not worth it if you're going to pay. Typically 22 to 24%, that's when it stops. There's diminishing returns. Because
Sure.
think about it. If you're going to pay 22%, your investment has to be returning 22%
Sure.
to make back what you paid in taxes, right? But if it has to make 12%, that's not as hard to do.
Yes.
And and lately the market has been doing really, really well. And my sense is it'll continue to do really, really well. So the main thing is, I guess this is my first tip, I'd say, investigate doing a Roth conversion.
Investigate it. Do a
Yeah.
lot of people not know about the Roth conversion?
I think a lot of people don't. I'm
Okay.
surprised by people not knowing about it because it feels like to me, like if I could have a vanity plate, I do have a vanity plate.
Yeah.
But if I could have one that said like I love Roths, I've tried to get that, but it's not available. I think it's too long too.
That's funny. Yeah.
But,
ILVRTHS.
Don't they have the little heart symbol though?
I don't
No,
know.
they don't.
Yeah.
They don't?
I don't know where those come from.
Shame.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I think California might offer the heart symbol.
I don't think so.
No.
But no. I mean, Arizona does it.
Arizona
I don't,
does
yeah,
it.
Right, I
don't
know
anything.
Arizona does it. Yeah.
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 Mine says I have two right now.
Okay.
So I bought a Crown Vic from the city of Prescott.
Fabulous.
For $1,200.
Nice.
An old police cruiser.
Yeah.
So it says CRVIC.
CRVIC.
Crown Vic.
Crown Vic.
Yeah.
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 Nice.
So
I was hoping gangster.
He could pull that off.
maybe.
He could
I
pull
mean,
that off.
I've got to like lower it and maybe get some hydraulics if I
Right.
want to do that.
22s, man. Get those big old wheels.
Oh my gosh,
love
that'd be
it.
cool. I mean,
it.
$1,200. I have to ask myself. That's what I bought it for. I have to ask,
Yeah.
how much money am I going to throw
Put into
after
it.
that $1,200?
Right.
Yeah, the wheels would be worth more than the car.
Right.
That's right.
That's true.
That's
True
right.
facts. All right. We're talking with Brandon Montoya from Montoya Wealth Management this morning. If you have a question, give us a call, 928-541-1016. We're talking about getting your finances in order in the new year. More with Councilman Montoya coming up here on Leza Live. Right now, if you've been thinking about giving your jewelry a makeover, now's the time to do it. Go through your jewelry box, gather up all the jewelry that you're just holding on to, not using, not wearing, but just holding on to. Take it into the Artful Eye Jewelers and have their on-site award-winning master jewelers give you an idea of what you could turn that all old jewelry you're not wearing anymore into. Their ideas and estimates are always free, so you can make an appointment, sit down with them, and they can even use not only your diamonds and your gemstones, but if you don't use all your gold, they will purchase that from you, helping with the cost of the makeover. Repurpose what you already have at the Artful Eye Jewelers, middle of Whiskey Row, downtown Prescott. And we are back. It's Leza Live on the news, 103.5 FM, KYCA, in this brand new year of 2025. We have Prescott City Councilman Brandon Montoya in this morning talking about your finances. Of course, he has Montoya Wealth Management on Willow Creek Road here in Prescott. And you've got some tips for us in the new year.
So a lot of what when I work with people, when Erica, my wife, and I, we work together. We do the financial planning for people. A lot of what we're talking to people about is tax planning, right?
Yeah.
Part of wealth management, in my view, is making your money grow.
Right.
Which everyone wants to do that.
Absolutely.
And typically, if you're invested with a good, diverse, and kind of well thought out investment plan, you can do that pretty easily. And if you're patient,
right?
That's the thing that I have to remind people. Like,
sure,
it doesn't happen overnight. Like, you gotta be invested for the long term and let it kind of just kind of grow.
Right.
But the other part of that is once you've built up wealth, you kind of want to minimize how much you pay taxes on it.
Sure.
And that's why in 2021, I think, is when I first started preparing taxes for my clients.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm an enrolled agent with the IRS, and so I prepare taxes for my clients. And so part of that is I want to kind of really make sure that people aren't paying any more than they have to.
Right.
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 It's not tax evasion.
No.
It's avoidance. Right.
Right.
Like you avoid paying the most you can. That's why I'm a big fan of Roth IRA.
Right.
Roth IRAs and Roth conversions.
Sure, you love them.
Yeah, I do. No vanity plate, but I do. But the other part of that that it kind of comes into, in financial planning, typically we kind of think of people having like buckets of money, right? And they're like division of where that money sits, right? So most people, there's what's called a taxable account. Your savings account that you have or your checking account is a taxable account. So the tax rate you pay on that account, you pay a capital gains rate, right? So let's say you have $1,000 in an investment account and it grows to be $2,000, right? You're going to pay a capital gain if you sell and pull that money out,
Okay.
right? So $1,000 capital gain, you're either, depending on where you are with your taxes, you'll either pay 0%, 15%, or 20%.
Okay.
Right? So that's a relatively low rate of payment on taxes on that money, right? Which is why having capital gains having a taxable account is good. A tax-deferred account, which is like the IRA, traditional 401k that we were talking about a moment ago, you're going to pay whatever your terminal tax rate is, right? So if you're in the 22% tax bracket, you're going to pay 22%.
Right.
A Roth account, if you've moved money into a Roth account, you're going to pay 0 every time you take it out. What's funny is, and I'll tell you this story, I think this is interesting. I had a client of mine who moved here from San Diego. He, while he was working still, converted a bunch of his 401k into a Roth.
Okay.
It cost him a lot of money. He paid a lot of taxes on it. But when he moved here, he had $400,000 in Roth money that he handed over for me to manage. So that $400,000, he was building a home in the area. Occasionally he'd come and say, hey, I need to pull money out. We're doing the flooring, blah, blah, blah. Give me $30,000.
Right.
We continued to be invested. He had already paid taxes on it. That was in 2018. As of, we had a meeting at the beginning of this year. He has $870,000 in that account still.
Wow.
And he's taken out $400,000.
Wow.
Since 2018.
That's amazing.
Which is to say, and his tax bill on that is 0, right?
That's amazing.
So that's kind of the power of a Roth in my mind. But one of the things we talk about in financial planning is what we call sequence of withdrawals. And so you kind of want to have a little bit of money in a taxable bucket, a little bit of money in a tax-deferred bucket, and a little bit in a Roth bucket.
Okay.
And what makes the most sense is you take from, as you're in retirement, you want to take from that taxable bucket first where you're paying the capital gains taxes. Then you want to take from the tax-deferred bucket. And typically you want to take from that Roth bucket last because if you've made a big conversion, you've paid taxes on that. And so you really want to give it time to season and grow so that you get enough bang for your buck on that conversion.
Sure.
So that's another tip that I talk to people about is like, make sure you have a cohesive strategy. Now that sounds overwhelming and confusing because it can.
Yeah.
That's why it makes sense to work with a financial
I was
professional.
just going to say, that's where you come in because you can basically lead a person through it all.
Yeah. And part of it is it's just more than anything, it's optimization, right? Like there's not a good financial planner, and it's kind of funny. Erica, my wife, and I talk about this all the time. a lot of people in I came up in like the banking side of the industry, so I worked for Merrill Lynch and JP Morgan and Wells Fargo and Edward Jones. Very traditional style of like financial advisor. And the traditional style is that you go into your guy's office and he's sitting on one side of the desk and you're on the other side and he's like, here's what you need to do, da 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 da, buy this, do this,
Right,
do that.
right.
And it's all just kind of all going over your head.
Right.
People come in our office and they meet in our conference room and we have a round table, like a circular table.
Yeah.
And the idea is that it's not just that we just could only find a circular table. It's intentional because the idea is that we're collaborating around that table, right? And no one's like kind of, and to me, a good financial professional is going to bring it down to a level that you can understand. They're going to take the time to understand your values. And one of the things I talk to people about is I say, listen, the market is going to do what the market does. And you can't control it. You can panic over it, you can worry over it, but that's not going to change the outcome of it.
Right.
We should only be making adjustments in your financial plan based on your financial reality.
Right.
The world is going to do what the world's going to do, but we need to respond to what's happening in your life. If all of a sudden you've decided, hey, I want to do more gifting to my kids, while I'm still alive, to see them enjoy the money that I'm giving them,
Right.
which is a big thing I talk to people about.
Sure.
Gifting to your kids in real time.
Right.
You kind of have to find someone who takes the time to understand your values and help you execute on those values. I always say to clients, there's I think it's Johnny Cash has this quote about money.
Yeah.
And he says, having money gives you the ability to worry about every damn thing but money.
Uh-huh.
And that's kind of the way I think about
Sure.
it in my practice,
Sure.
is that it's a tool. Like money is a tool. And if you have a lot, that's great. It gives you the capacity to worry less about money. But then you still have to think through the other parts of your life and what you want that money to enable
Sure.
you to do.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Let's take another quick break. When we come back, let's talk about implementing a bond ladder for stability. Did that sound smart? Because
It sounded great.
I'm hoping it did.
You read it well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, that's coming up here on Leza Live. Your oral health is closely connected to your overall health. Pro Solutions Dental Group takes this seriously, offering a whole body approach to their dental care. Their team collaborates with medical professionals to address conditions like acid reflux and diabetes that can impact your oral health. By treating the root cause, they help protect your smile and improve your well-being. Discover the difference comprehensive care can make at Pro Solutions Dental Group. Their number, write it down, 928-776-1208, or you can visit them online at PrescottDentist.com. And we're back. It's Leza Live on the News, 103.5 FM, KYCA, hanging out with Prescott City Councilman Brandon Montoya, talking about wealth management this morning, and has given us lots of great tips for our finances in the new year.
Yeah.
And we mentioned it before we went to break. You're going to tell us how to implement or why we should implement a bond ladder for stability.
Yeah, so this is something that's relatively new in my practice. I started working in finance like post 2010.
Mm-hmm.
So typically the interest rates have been pretty low, but as we're all really aware of, especially those who are trying to buy a home right now, interest rates have gotten a lot higher in the last year.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I've always kind of a well-diversified portfolio is going to have a bond component, which is a type of investment. You basically have stocks, which you're buying ownership in the company, and in bonds, you kind of simplify it, you're buying debt of a company or a government entity, like the U.S. Treasuries are a form of debt. The city of Prescott issues municipal bond debt, so you can buy that debt. And then basically you hold it for a certain period of time, and then they pay you, payments on that debt until they retire it. Without getting too much more complicated beyond that, which is fairly complicated already because there's more to it than that, but that's the simplified understanding. What a good bond kind of component to a portfolio is going to do is it's going to give you ballast against the rockiness of the equity market, of the stock market, right?
Okay.
And so one thing that happened when interest rates started getting fairly high in the last year or two, I had a bunch of people who were kind of interested, and they said, well, what are CDs doing? And right now, I look today, you can buy a CD through, I use Charles Schwab as a platform that I trade on. You can buy a CD for about, a 1 year CD for about 4.25% this morning, which is still pretty good.
Yeah.
The height of it was 5.5.
Oh, wow.
And so I had some people who bought it at 5.5. And so one of the things, if you go and buy a CD right now, if you go to your bank at Wells Fargo, Bank of America, any of them, you're going to say, okay, I've got $20,000. I want to buy a CD. I'm going to buy it for, maybe you can get that similar rate, 4.25. Typically what will happen is you're in there for a year, and if you're like, oh my gosh, you know what? I have this really good opportunity to buy this car that I've been looking at, and I need that $20,000, you're going to pay a penalty to break that CD.
Okay.
And that's typically not, and you'll lose interest typically too, right? So it's kind of
not recommended.
It's a lose-lose situation.
Sure.
One of the ways you can avoid doing that, being in that situation, is you can take your $20,000 and split it up into what are called in the financial industry tranches, which is a French word that means slices.
Okay.
So hang in there for 1 second. I'm going to make this make sense.
Did we just look blind right there when you said that?
So you can break your $20,000 into pieces.
Okay.
So 4 segments. You can take that $20,000, divide it into 4 pieces, and instead of putting it all into a 1 year CD, you can buy a 3-month, a 6-month, a 9-month, and a 12-month.
Okay.
And what happens is that every 3 months, part of your money is maturing. Now, you won't get as favorable of a total interest payment on that 3 months. But the idea is that 3 months comes along, and you're like, hey, I don't actually need this. I'm going to roll it forward. So you take that 3 months and buy a 12-month CD.
Okay.
Again, so you take that and your interest and you buy the 12-month CD. Then you move along. The 6-month one is now the 3-month one. So 3 months later, your 6-month one comes to you, and you say, do I need this money? No, I don't. And then you can kind of roll forward. What happens is eventually you will level out. In a year's time, you'll be getting the effective rate of all the year CDs, but you'll have the liquidity of every 3 months you're creating a liquidity event.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's a way to have your cake and eat it too, is kind of how I explain it to people.
Sure.
It's like you're able to ladder it out. And so it's that's kind of what the idea of laddering is. It's a ladder. You've got rungs, and the first rung is 3 months, the next one is 6, and you just keep going up the ladder. And if you do that, again, you can kind of create a liquidity event. Your money's working for you, but it's not locked up in this very long-term, like 1 year thing.
Sure.
So that creates stability and liquidity opportunity as well.
Very interesting. Very interesting. All right, we have to take another break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap up our conversation with Brandon Montoya from Montoya Wealth Management this morning.
My head hurts.
Does it?
It hurts so much.
It's all making sense to me. So I don't
You
know
got
I
it?
don't know what
Well,
your
you're
problem
smarter
is.
than me.
All right, more coming up here on Leza Live. So, as we step into the new year, there's no better time to prioritize your health and well-being as well as your finances. Welcome back to Leza Live on the News, 103.5 FM, KYCA. Chatting with Brandon Montoya from Montoya Wealth Management this morning about what you can do with your finances in the new year. And if you like what you've been hearing, why don't you just reach out to Brandon and the team? You've got a website you can share?
Yeah, I was going to say there's our website, MontoyaWealthManagement.com. It explains who we are, what we're about, kind of who we work with and how we work with people. The idea there is just, it's a resource, right?
Right.
The other thing I'll say that's on there, and I want to throw this out for people today, we've been talking a lot about taxes, and it can feel really overwhelming. And so what we have on our website is a PDF that's a static web page that has all the important numbers you need to know for the coming tax year.
Oh, good.
And so if you go to MontoyaWealth.com/2025.
Okay.
That's as simple as possible.
Yes.
Then you'll see this document that has all the important numbers. How much can you contribute to this account? What is the different tax rates? Like it's a 2-page document. In our office, it's printed out front and back, so it's 1 page essentially. But
Nice.
the idea is that it's a good resource that you can, and that's free to anyone. You don't
Love
even
it.
have to ever call me or do any business with me. Just have it, because part of it is we just want people to have the information.
I love that. That's great. Again, what's the website?
MontoyaWealth.com, and then to get that is MontoyaWealth.com/2025.
2025. All right. This is great, and I appreciate you coming in and sharing all this information with us. And I also have to ask you about your plans after the show this morning.
Aha.
I heard that you were doing something very special.
Yeah, so I am excited today. I have an appointment with the city clerk, and I'm going to pull paperwork to formally start the process of running for mayor in 2025.
Wow, that is amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yes, yes. Now, what makes you want to be mayor?
I've been on council now for more than 3 years, and it's a labor of love, and it's this community that I've lived in for 30 years, and as I always say, like, God willing, I'll live here for another 30 years or more.
Right.
And I just believe I can still make a really positive impact for the community. And so that's it's for me. It's always been about community service. In Rotary, we talk about this concept of service above self, and so for me, it's the same thing. I want to just continue to serve my community and help to make it a better place for everybody.
Fantastic. Well, what's the process? After you file the paperwork, then you have
petitions.
to get petitions.
Yeah.
Yep, and you got to get so many signatures.
Yeah, and the threshold for signatures is actually lower than it's been in a long time.
Oh.
So that's good and bad in some ways.
Right.
This is the first year that the city clerk's office is going to do where you can sign the petition online.
Oh, nice.
So it's something called eQual. Prescott Valley has done it for a while. I think Board of Supervisors and by county have done it at least one cycle, I think. And then LD1 representatives have done it too. So it's pretty straightforward. You go to the website. You'll have to have your driver's license to sign it. And so that'll make it a lot easier for folks, so that we don't, I'll still be doing the traditional, like, trying to get people to sign petitions on paper, but I'll also probably have a QR code that says, hey, if you want to just do this online, you can take this and do it at home and have your driver's license. So yeah, that's the plan.
Very good. Well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for coming in this morning. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you back here tomorrow.